Welcome to the Generation Kids Daily Devo podcast, where we move from wonder to worship, looking for God at work in the world around us, ready to ask the tough questions and discover what His Word has to say to us. Today's episode is titled, The Wait, Then the Light, and it comes from me, Casey Taylor. Man, I don't know what your week has been like, but if I had to find one word to describe my week, it would be this: heavy. There have been a lot of really weighty things that I and people close to me have been facing. I just got back from spending time with one of my closest friends who just lost a brother. And we spent some time together talking, praying, and grieving over his loss. And this is the same friend who, weeks earlier, I'd seen in a memorial service for one of he and I's mutual friends, a guy we all loved, who had 4 kids and who brought so much vibrancy to the world. Our friend was a wonderful artist who made beautiful things. And then cancer, such an ugly thing and a heavy word, entered his story, and now he's gone way before any of us are ready. Some really sad and painful things have happened in my own family that are hard to accept at times. But when I feel the weight of frustration, anger, hurt, loss, pain, or grief swell up within me, I'm reminded of an offer that Jesus extends to us, something that I've challenged Him to keep His word on many different times in my life. And this is what it says.
Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you, and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Matthew 11:28-30.
We know from chapter 16 of the book of John that in this world we will have troubles. So when death or loss happens, or when someone steals from us or hurts us, that Jesus isn't surprised by that. He told us that bad things would happen. But what He tells us in Matthew 11 is that when they do, He has a place for us, with Him. When life for you feels like what life has felt like for me lately, which is, again, very heavy, Jesus actually invites us to come to Him and find comfort in His all-knowing, all-seeing, kind, tender, compassionate, and present arms. The word yoke in this passage is talking about the piece of wood that was placed upon the back of a pair of ox or donkeys. It was a weighty piece of wood that rested upon their necks while they went about their work in the fields, and the weight was shared. Jesus is trying to paint a picture for us that when we hurt and when life is heavy, He doesn't want to add weight to our backs. He instead wants to relieve us of our burden. He wants us to come to Him and let His easy yoke, His light burden, relieves us of some of our weightiness. As He walks alongside us, He wants to take our heavy load while we carry on. This doesn't mean that we don't feel the weight of life's hard times or pain. It just means that by coming to Him, sharing our feelings, and not keeping those feelings to ourselves to eat at us, He is there with us, ministering to us like a doctor to a sick patient, caring for our emotional wounds, reminding us of what is true, and reminding us of the hope that we find in His promises. As my friend and I talked tonight, one of the things that he said that really stood out to me, he told me that in his loss, there was just so much darkness that seemed to be winning out. And I was reminded of Jesus' words in John 16, that we would definitely have troubles in this world. And we know that means that darkness will win sometimes. But there are only small victories, because the light, we know and believe, because the Bible promises it, will win in the end. So today's Daily Devo is hopefully a reminder to you, to me, to my friend, and to all who might be mourning or grieving in a heavy season of life, that Jesus offers to give all of us rest when we bring our feelings and hurts to Him, our weighty circumstances. And He also reminds us that His burden is light, and that He helps carry the burden of our weight, but also that He casts out the darkness, as He is the light, casting out that darkness. It may feel like a small match in a large cave, but ultimately where there is light, the darkness, however great, won't ever win out. So let Him ignite the light of hope in our heart today and find rest in Him, until the blazing fire of Jesus is revealed someday when he comes to cast out the darkness for good.
Now it's time for
Today's Big Question!
Today's big question is, what weight are you carrying today? Is there anything painful and hard that maybe we can pray with you for? Head over to Instagram at WeAreGenerationKids and let us know how we can partner with you in prayer. Because we're all in this together, and when many lights join together, the light of Christ only gets brighter for all of us.
Thanks for listening to the Generation Kids Daily Devo podcast. If you want to keep in touch with us on all our social media platforms, check out the links in the description. And if you'd like to help support us as we continue to create meaningful content for kids of all generations, please subscribe to our Patreon by visiting us at patreon.com/wearegenerationkids.